Are you thinking about a move to San Marcos? Today we're going to get into the map view. We're going to check out all the neighborhoods, the price points, the amenities that those neighborhoods feed into, things you can get into around town, and we're going to show you all things San Marcos. I'm Cassidy Lewis.
I'm Chris Erickson.
And if you're thinking about moving out this way, definitely get in touch with us. Let's get into it right now. So let's get right into San Marcos. As you can see, San Marcos is just east of Carlsbad, kind of right in the heart of North County, just to the west of Escondido as well. And it is split right down the middle with the 78 highway separating the two zip codes. We are going to start in the northern portion, which is the 92069 zip code. And there's 3 or 4 defined neighborhoods in this community, but for the most part, there's a lot of just overlapping neighborhoods and spots to check out. Let's start on the east side in kind of the Richland, Nordall, the little corridor. There's some track houses, track neighborhoods in this area, but there's no real definition like where you'll see a lot of the other communities like Lake San Marcos, Santa Fe Hills, San Elijo Hills. They're very defined, where this is a little bit more neighborhood to neighborhood in this area.
Right in this eastern portion here, like you said, Richland, that's a school right here is Richland. One of the elementary schools is actually getting remodeled right now. So that's kind of that little area. There's actually a few schools in this area. This is kind of where I grew up in this section of San Marcos. So we went to Woodland Park, used to be an elementary school. Now it's middle school. Richland, like I said, is being redone. It's one of the elementary schools. And then down to the south portion right here is Mission Hills High School. Not brand new. I guess it was brand new when we were kind of going to, or just ending high school. Now it's about 15 years old or so, but new-ish high school. So they have some good sports programs and whatnot. And Hollandia Park, it's kind of the bigger park in this little area. So you have the ball fields. Here, I'll jump into the satellite view so you get a little better view. You have the ball fields here, a bunch of softball games. This is where we're playing some pickup softball right now. Soccer fields down here. Little skate park to the southern portion here. This whole area right here used to be Hollandia Dairy. So Hollandia Dairy, they're still producing like milk and stuff here, but this whole section from like Fulton down here used to be all dairy. So like old school growing up in San Marcos, it was like there was a lot of this area, open fields, all that kind of stuff. Since then, it's been quite built out. Most of the houses in this area though have been around kind of since then, late 70s, early 80s. That's most of these neighborhoods. And like Cassie said, there's no real defined neighborhoods. So you're going to find, when we go to the southern portion, you're going to find like specific neighborhoods that kind of have like distinct borders. So just hopping into one of these neighborhoods right here, hop into the satellite view. We'll zoom in here, just give you a little kind of walk through this little neighborhood. This is how a lot of this section is. Like I said, kind of older track-ish neighborhood. So a little bit bigger footprint, little bit bigger yards, nothing crazy back here. There are some sections here too. If you go back out, kind of the map view, and to this northern section here, there's some brand new construction. So kind of like off Richland Road, right in this area. And that's kind of how a lot of San Marcos is. You're seeing a lot of areas that are just like hillsides or like little or older big plots of land, because there used to be that in San Marcos, but they are getting built out to not necessarily master plan communities, but newer construction kind of areas. So you'll see a little bit back here. This area, once we start getting a little bit over towards Twin Oaks, so kind of between this Richland area and Twin Oaks, it's pretty spread out. The border of San Marcos is kind of this Buena Creek area. There's actually a cool little winery right here. You guys are around, you want some wine, go check this place out, Sunshine Mountain. But the back area kind of here of San Marcos is pretty darn spread out. There are some newer, compared to where we just were, this little area right around here, kind of around the golf course, is a newer compared to what the 1970s houses that we were just at. Track homes, they're still like late 90s kind of deal. And then kind of right in here as well, there's some newer, bigger lots, bigger houses, all that kind of stuff. So you got a kind of a wide mix of everything going on here. You are golfing as well. Twin Oaks, that's kind of where we grew up golfing. It's one of the main courses in this northern section, or it is the main course in this northern section of San Marcos. So anybody golfing out there, it's a pretty difficult little course. I guess difficult's relative. I don't know. We're not great golfers, but yeah, another fun little thing to do here in this area of San Marcos.
And price points if you're looking at the Richland area, you're going to find a lot of smaller homes in that area. So there are some opportunities to get detached houses in the high 6s, low 7s. But then from there, you get up into the 7, 8s, and even 9s in some of the communities. But you're not going to find a whole ton of like 3,000 square foot plus homes in that area. And as you go to Twin Oaks, it's kind of the same story, maybe just a little bit higher price point. Like Chris mentioned, it is a little bit newer. So some of those homes are, getting up into the millions just because they're a little newer, a little bigger. And a lot of them have pretty golf course views, mountain views. That whole little valley right there has mountains on either side. So it's, so there's some pretty things to look at too from a housing side. You can see those mountains on the sides there. And as we move up a little bit further north, there are some new construction developments kind of in that north area of Twin Oaks. And you probably heard us talking about it before, but a lot of North County was a lot of agriculture and everything. And we're starting to see now in this agricultural part of San Marcos, some of those open fields and land are being turned into smaller new housing developments. So just to keep an eye out for those in the future.
San Marcos as a whole, shopping wise, all that kind of stuff, restaurants, there's a lot of basically, especially in this north section, a lot of like big box stores, a lot of the kind of chain restaurants. If you want some, so once you get down here, West San Marcos Boulevard, this little area down here where you see Regal Cinema is kind of like the downtown, I guess, area of San Marcos. There's no real downtown area. It's kind of not defined, but this is called Restaurant Row down here. And so you will find a bunch, well, we've mentioned it a few times. It recently got sold, so we'll see what it actually entails. But there are still a few restaurants in here. They potentially are remodeling and redoing it in the next few years. But it's a good little spot for date nights. There's Old California Restaurant Row. That's not a good rendition of Buffalo Wild Wings. That's on the newer side. When I was growing up, this was one of my first jobs right in this little section here. So all the restaurants right in there. If you want to catch a movie as well, just hop right next to it. There is, where's Bolarama? Oh, here, Bolero, sorry. Bolero's the bowling alley here in San Marcos. So you got this little section right here. Is a nice little area to kind of cruise out and about. Churchill's a little local watering hole as well. So you find some local craft beer right over there.
And then one of my favorite spots is Sublime Ale House, right in that Restaurant Row area. They have, I think they call it, it's kind of like fancy comfort food. Like it's really good, sandwiches and a lot of beer options. So it's gourmet comfort food. That's what it is. And it's a tasty spot.
All right, and then hopping back out, we're going to get into the satellite view. Goodbye, Sublime Ale House. Give you a big view of San Marcos here. So that's, like I said, that's kind of this section here. This is the 92069 section once again. And then kind of in here, there's a bunch of little shopping centers and stuff that do feed this area. And then once you get down to this section here in the Nordal area, this is where you got a lot of the shopping and stuff that feed that area. You got your Costco. There's a bunch of other stores and stuff in there. Once again, mostly big box stuff, but that does kind of feed that area as well. And then cruising out, I'm going to cruise over to the western portion of 92069 Santa Fe Hills. And this is actually one of the defined areas in one of the defined communities in that 92069 zip code. So you can see kind of it outlines here.
And this, this is the start of all the rest of the master plan communities we'll kind of walk you through in San Marcos. This one is a mix of there's an older section of Santa Fe Hills. You can see kind of in that lower right section, lower east section of Santa Fe Hills. So you'll find kind of smaller homes, a little bit older. The price points will be a little bit lower. But then as you get kind of closer to West Borden Road and on the west side of Las Posas there, those are going to be the newer sections of Santa Fe Hills. And they're pretty good size houses. Are 1,800 to 30,000 square foot is kind of the standard. The price points are up into the 800s kind of to start. So you'll get a little bit on the low side of 800 in the older neighborhoods, but the neighborhood we're cruising through right now is definitely going to be kind of that starting point. And they've crept up over $1 million in some of the spots, especially depending on views. A lot of our communities are named hills here in San Marcos, but as you go up in the hills, you definitely get some more views. And there are a lot of little neighborhood parks within. You can see one here on on the left side where it's just a lot of grass and picnic tables and little playgrounds. But they also do have, if we zoom out, one of the other cool things about Santa Fe Hills is the park that's right kind of smack dab in the middle of it. Right next to Paloma Elementary School, you have the Cerro de las Posas Park. There's also a pool, there's ball fields, soccer fields, tennis courts. It's got a lot of amenities there. And it's just kind of a cool spot right in the middle of the community to feed all these neighborhoods around it.
And one thing about this little section of San Marcos, get back to this view here, pop out, as it's real close to the freeway access. So you can hop on, just go down Las Posas and hop on right there. Pretty easy. Two things. One, a little local burger spot. It's been here forever. They actually used to be across the road, but they've been here forever. So good burgers and fries. And then one other little stop, if you're in this section, Sorrento's Pizza and some killer meatball sandwiches. We've been there many a times. It's a local staple here in San Marcos, so be sure to go check those out. And a new brewery. We haven't been, but Blue Fire Brewing, kind of right on the edge of San Marcos. Then you start going into Vista. So South Santa Fe does actually lead all the way into Vista.
Now we're going to switch gears and get into the 92078 portion of San Marcos. And we're going to start in a very cool community. It's actually part of the county of San Diego, not San Marcos City, but this is Lake San Marcos. It's a really cool spot. And very different for San Diego in general. We're not known for having a ton of lakes. The only lakes we really have are ones that are man-made. So there's a dam on the south side right there where it kind of just looks like it ends. Lake San Marcos is a really cool place to check out. There's paddle boarding, there's boats that you can rent there in the marina. And then around this lake are a lot of homes. So definitely a lake/golf community. And you'll see that it's a lot of smaller homes, a lot of older homes. And with that, and you can even see you got the single car garages, and a lot of these spots will have, I think there's one on the left there. They have the golf cart parking right there, the little single car garages. So the community is also okay to drive golf carts around. You don't have to have them be street legal to cruise through this community here. And the price point in here is going to be on the higher side just because of all those cool amenities you get with the golf course, with the lake, and especially the homes that are right on the lake. It's a really cool spot to check out.
Yeah, and Lake San Marcos, it's like a community within its own. So it is a golf course or kind of a golf community. Over the past 20 years or so, there's been a lot of turnaround in all these houses. So some of the older ones have been remodeled, and prices have been creeping up quite a bit. Obviously, the better views, the better location. If you're on the golf course, all that kind of stuff, the higher the price points are going to be. There are a few. These ones don't pop up all too often, kind of the lakefront ones. They do have like smaller lots and not really yards per se. It's just kind of like open to go down to your dock or whatever. There's not really many yards. And so a lot of the houses right on the golf course as well, they only have like these little tiny fences, so basically you step over to go right in the golf course. So if you have kids and stuff, probably not ideal to be right on the golf course, but there's a bunch of communities kind of surrounding that Lake San Marcos area, especially once you get back into this discovery section here, which kind of connects to another area. So really cool spot. One of my favorite golf courses right here, St. Mark Executive Course. You can play it super quick. This cool place right here is called
Tap-In Tavern.
Tap-In Tavern. Okay. But it's a great spot. It used to just be a tiny clubhouse, but they made it with a ton of craft beers and stuff. So after your quick little round, like I said, maybe 3 hours, it's a quick little par 3 course, super fun to play. And then Amalfi is part of the Lake House Resort, or the restaurant kind of right at the edge of the lake here. Great spot to grab a drink, grab some food, and the views are killer from there. They do have, you can see the fountain in the back during certain times of the year. They do have like fountain water shows and stuff. So it's a killer spot to go grab a quick little bite.
And just next to this community, you can see San Marcos High School is right there. It is a brand new high school. They pretty much took the other one down completely, destroyed it, and built a brand new high school. And now it's like a college campus. The fields are awesome. The facilities are amazing. So it's definitely one of the most up and coming high schools here in North County.
And then bordering Lake San Marcos, it's this little neighborhood over here. You can see another lake. They're mostly, well, actually Lake San Marcos is decently sized. You kind of go down quite a bit. Discovery Lake is just a quick little walk around. So it's more of a little pond to cruise around, but it's still beautiful. And it's kind of around this Discovery Hills neighborhood. There's a few different neighborhoods, but we just kind of refer to it as Discovery Hills as a whole. In this kind of down the northern section of, these are all hills here. Once you get to the northern section, going up to about this area here is Discovery Hills. So a good mix of kind of everything. Older tract neighborhoods here. Most of them do not have HOAs. So it is one of the neighborhoods where you do have these tract neighborhoods, but with no HOAs and no mellors and stuff. So it's pretty sweet. Once you go to the next area over, it's a little bit newer construction. You can see all these lines and stuff. These are all built out now. Let's see if it goes to the map view. But these are all built out now. Rancho Tesoro, it's a bigger master plan community in this little section of San Marcos. Discovery is its own. Rancho Tesoro is its own, but we're just going to call it this area as a whole. There's even another section in here called just North City, which they're building out right now. North City is pretty cool. Mesa Rim. It's a fun little rock climbing gym over here. Buena Forchetta is a newer restaurant. Killer food right there. And they kind of made this section kind of like a urban style, kind of downtown style area. It's a bunch of apartments and stuff, so not much as far as homes and living. But they are building it out across Twin Oaks Road. This whole area that you see open right here, you can see actually some of the roads are actually, ghosted out right here. Those are all future developments. So some of them are being made or are being built right now. Lennar at Parkside, there's another one right up here on this side. And then they're grazing this whole hill. So they're going to expand this North City area to just cruise all the way across. And this is all fed. And this is like a little shopping center. So Cassie's favorite taco shop, burritos, is right in here somewhere.
Breakfast burritos.
Breakfast burritos. There you go. Mr. Taco numero two. Yeah.
From my favorite breakfast burrito spot, we're going to head back over to the Discovery area and jump into some of the neighborhoods here. And you can see that they're all kind of centered around that Discovery Lake area. And what you get in here is a kind of a wide mix of detached houses. There's not really a ton of townhomes or condos in this area, but you get some single story options, which are going to be on the smaller side. And then there's some options that are kind of in that low 2,000 square foot, 2 stories up to close to 3,000 square feet. And the price points are going to be kind of in that high sevens up to about $1 million in there. Part of that is that they're a little bit older, but the ones that are remodeled, the ones that have the bigger lots are going to be kind of on that higher price point side. One of the positives of this neighborhood, though, is because it's a little bit older, the lot sizes are a little bit bigger. So you can't see the roofs right now in the community just to the east of us, but those lots are a lot smaller, a lot tighter. So you can even kind of just see it there that they're all just kind of stacked in there. And they did try to just maximize how many houses they could get in this area. And so if you need a big yard or that's one of your big wants, Rancho Tesoro probably is not the best option. But if you like getting out and doing hiking and, not, living in your own backyard, there's a ton of opportunity out here. There's a lot of trail systems. You can see all those green dotted lines. The price points in Rancho Tesoro are going to be a little bit higher. Part of that is they're newer. A lot of the detached floor plans are bigger than that Discovery Lake area. And then there's going to be a ton of condo options. So Rancho Tesoro itself has a bunch of townhomes and condo communities. And then on that east side of Twin Oaks, there's a lot of condos in there too, condos and townhomes. So there's a lot of opportunity if you're trying to get that starter type home price point. There's a lot of spots in this area.
And then right kind of centering around this whole area here, North City right here, Rancho Tesoro here, and then Discovery Hills is Cal State San Marcos. It's a growing school. It's been around since like 1989, but it is a pretty big university. I've actually never went into the actual school area until most recently. Right around the edge here, there's a frisbee golf or a disc golf course, and it kind of cruises through, and then you start going through the actual college, which was pretty rad. Ton of different programs in this little area. So if you are moved to this area for school, Cal State San Marcos is right in the center, but it also feeds a lot of these neighboring, communities here. So it used to be kind of a commuter school, but we're seeing more and more people within San Marcos are cruising there. Palomar College to the north, we didn't mention that one either, is a great junior college as well, which is super affordable for San Marcos residents. All right, and then just cruising over the hill here on Twin Oaks Road, you're going to run into a newer community that used to be nothing back in the day. It looked like all these hillsides over here. And then early 2000s, they built out this master plan community right here. San Elijo right here, kind of all centered around the town center. Down the middle, they finally have built this out. So you can see on here, there's nothing in this town center. But once you get to the ground level, it's all little shops and restaurants and cool stuff. And as with a lot of other San Marcos, that we were saying, there's not a ton of like local places. Most of the places in here are like local spots. Even if they're local chains, they are some local spots in here. You got Shane's, which is right back here. You got a little wine spot right up here to the north. So this is the little town center. One of our favorite watering holes is right around here. Is the Lost Abbey, or the Sanctuary. It's not Cafe Stoked anymore. There's a little beer tasting room. You can see right over here, Lost Abbey. So if you're in town, this is a very cool spot to be. But San Elijo is a huge mix of different styles of homes, kind of at the base, and even going up the hill. You have that starter condo options, and then actually a few on the outskirts, kind of down towards the bottom, which technically is not San Elijo, but we'll call it San Elijo for this purpose. And then as you cruise up the hill, you start getting into more expensive homes. There are a few little one-offs, like this little section right here. They're detached condos right in here. And then cruising out, you have we'll call it like starter San Elijo. You have a little bit more expensive. There's a few gated communities in it up here, and then all the way up to this super luxury on the top of San Elijo, which is, let's see if we could get in there.
It's gated, so probably not.
Yeah, but we'll show you kind of these views from up here, looking towards the ocean and stuff. So there's the little town center we were just in, and then you go up the hill, wrap around, and then you kind of wrap around to these. And these are all built out, or most of them. There are still a few lots, but for the most part, all built out. So a little bit of everything in that San Elijo area.
So for the most part, like Chris mentioned, there's a wide variety of prices. I think probably the most wide variety of prices in a lot of the communities. But kind of the majority of the homes are going to be in that like 2,500 square foot, 3,000 square foot size wise. And they're going to be kind of in the mid 1 millions right now, 1.3 to 1.5, 1.6, somewhere in there. These communities have increased in value a ton over the last 18 months. And so that's kind of that ballpark price point now. The smaller detached houses are going to be just shy of $1 million. The condos are going to be kind of in that 600,000 to 700,000 range. And then, like Chris said, the super high luxury ones that are up on the hill with those amazing views, probably the coolest views in North County, unless you're looking on the bluff in Encinitas.
Yeah.
And those are going to be in the 2 million plus, kind of getting close to 3 million in some of those spots too. So huge variety of price points in the San Elijo area. And one of the cool parts about it too is Chris mentioned that everything's kind of centered around that town center. You really don't have to leave this community. There's grocery stores, there's Lourdes Mexican food, which is one of our favorite taco shops. Like Chris said, the pizza spot. There's just a ton of things that keep you in the community, as well as baseball fields, parks, soccer fields, trails. There's just everything you really need. And this is actually where my family and I live. And we, like Saturdays and Sundays, we very often are just doing sports right here in San Elijo.
Yeah, you can see, once again, all these little dotted lines going through the community. Those are all the trails, and that's part of when they were building it out. They did add a lot of this kind of hiking and stuff. Once again, it's like we mentioned in past videos, but like suburban hiking. So, it's not like in the wilderness or whatever, but it's super cool to have these through the community. They connect a lot of the different communities because there are, different little sections of the community. And it does also hook up to other trail systems kind of out in this section here. So you can go for quite a ways if you just want to get out and hike, a bunch of running trails and stuff. So pretty fun little spot.
One of the other great things about San Elijo Hills is they built out schools for the younger age kiddos in the community. So you got San Elijo Elementary right there. You got the middle school just across the street right there. And then as the community grew and the Rancho Tesoro area grew, they built Double Peak School, which is a K-8 school up at the top of the hill as well. But another reason you don't really need to leave the community, because your schools are right there.
And if you're in this neighborhood, definitely go check out Double Peak Park, one of the highest spots in North County, but you got killer views. You can see all of that section of San Marcos that we were just talking about. Plus, on like clear days, you could see to like Catalina Island, way off the coast, like Santa Ana days, it blows off wind. Oh my gosh, it's beautiful up there. So definitely go check that out. And so we just ended up at Double Peak Park, and we actually did a video up there. It's popping up right now. Be sure to check that out, give you an overview of all of North County San Diego, including San Marcos, so you get a real good picture of kind of where you might want to live. And this is where you come for all things North County. We're dropping new videos every week, so if you like what you're seeing, be sure to subscribe. We'll catch you next time.